Well, joining us now on Al Jazeera is Shadi Martini, who's the CEO of Multifaith Alliance, which is one of the aid groups that has fulfilled Israel's requirements to continue operating in Gaza. He's live from New York. Thank you so much, Mr. Martini, for joining us. So your organization is one of the few that's still licensed to operate in Gaza. Can you talk us through what the process was like to meet these new Israeli rules?
Yes, thank you, Folly. Thank you for having me, and thank you for Al Jazeera to giving me this opportunity. Yes, we're one of 23 organizations that were given went through the licensing process, and we got a license to continue operating through Israel into Gaza. It was a process that took several months with a lot of documentation, a lot of back and forth discussions about things that could be given, things that couldn't be given, because we're a United-based organizations. We have to comply also by our regulations and rules and compliance procedures here in the United States. Mm-hmm. So it was a tough process, but at the end of the day, we managed to get the authorization to continue working through Israel into Gaza.
Okay, I'll ask you a bit more about the process in just a moment. I just wanted to get your reaction first to what Philip Lazzarini said, UNRWA's chief. He says that these rules set a dangerous precedent and undermine the neutrality of aid groups. What do you respond to that?
Well, I truly have no response to that. That's the UNRWA statement, and every organization and UN organizations have a totally different process and access to the Gaza Strip. For us, we try to stay focused on the mission that we have, which is to provide aid to the people we serve inside Gaza. So I would hope, in personal view, I would hope more organizations would be able to operate in Gaza. And there is a lot of organizations that are not licensed by Israel are operating in Gaza. So that's very good. The more, the better for the service of the people who are really suffering inside Gaza.
Let me ask you then a bit more about the process, Mr. Martini. The requirements include providing a significant amount of personal information about employees, your employees, including passport numbers and personal ID numbers, to the Israeli government. And that's not standard practice for NGOs for multiple reasons, including fears that it could lead to workers being targeted. And these are organizations that have been qualified to work under international law in places like Afghanistan, the organizations that have been banned in places like Afghanistan, Sudan, without those requirements. So did you have any concerns for your own employees when you sent that information to the Israeli authorities?
Of course, every organization has a lot of concerns for their employees and their safety. This is why we discussed this requirement with our employees, and our employees stated that they don't have a problem with providing this information. We also were asked to provide information about the drivers that were coming to the border crossing. And when we also asked about that, it turned out that this information is already provided to the Israeli authority if you want to go into the Kerem Shalom crossing. So after consultation, and we provided the information that was requested, and after vetting, the personnel were accepted and deemed.
Why do you think Israel demanded?
No, I have no issue.
Why do you think Israel demanded this information when, as I said, no other countries do that?
So the reasoning that when we asked is to not have any associations with organizations that Israel seems as terrorist organizations. For us, it's for our own standard, it was the safety. We wanted to make sure the safety of our employees. So that was the Israeli point of view, and this is why they said that they request these people not to be associated of any organization that they see as a terrorist organization.
So what impact is this ban on several organizations, including MSF, Médecins Sans Frontières, is going to have on operations in Gaza?
I mean, MSF is an amazing organization that does an amazing work inside Gaza and around the world. But every organization has a different set of challenges and different set of operations. MSF mainly focus on the medical sector, so I'm assuming they have a large number
Right.
of
What sort of
employees
pressure?
there. Maybe their situation a little bit different than ours.
Mr. Martini, what sort of pressure does this put on your group, the Multifaith Alliance, on your operations in Gaza? And do you think that these new rules could undermine confidence, the Palestinians' confidence in an organization like yours, when such large ones who have been operating in Gaza for many years, including MSF, as you said, have been banned by the Israeli government?
So one thing is to say to ban. I think, like I mentioned, there's a lot of organizations can work in Gaza in areas not under control of Israel. So it's just a ban to go work through Israel or areas that are probably controlled by Israel. So organization can still work there. As for us, it's just we're one of 23 organizations that we're lucky, and we have a very track record. Our organization brings in between 50 to 100 truck a day. We have a very track record of what we do and how we do it and how we provide in a very orderly, humane, and concerned way to the recipients and beneficiaries inside Gaza. So in terms of like, is it going to affect us like we're seeing in some way, in a different way, or like, I don't think so. But in terms of the pressure it has on if we have less organizations, of course, there's going to be a lot of pressure on the other organizations that are left to operate, to provide more aid and to provide more services to the people of Gaza. And this is the main concern. Like we always would love to have more organizations and more aid going into Gaza because the people of Gaza are suffering tremendously.
Thank you for taking the time to speak to us about this. Thank you for joining us on Al Jazeera. Shadi Martini, CEO of the Multifaith Alliance, joining us from New York. Thanks.
Thank you, Pauline.